not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hey y'all, this is Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I'm apologize ahead of time for the lateness of the video. Of course, it was Mother's Day weekend. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers, mother figures out there, mommies to be. So I was out of town for the weekend, so I was just getting a chance to watch Put a Ring on It. So here I am now with the review. So y'all, let's just not waste any more time and let's jump right into it, because I thought this episode was probably the best episode maybe we've had all season of this show. Okay, so we are season 4, episode 9. So we picked back up right where we left off, where y'all remember Jaisha was getting all emotional because Joya, was saying that, gifts are her thing, and he felt like he was doing that. So to hear her basically say she wasn't getting what she felt like she needed really hurting him. He's saying he's doing the best he can, and all he can offer is his best. Him crying, child, everybody else is starting to dab their eye and get a little misty-eyed, okay? Dr. Stacy asks him basically what his plan is to keep her happy, because she really wants them to win. She gives him an idea of putting a reminder in his calendar so, that basically he can remember to do the little things for her. And he said that's a good idea, that he will try, basically putting in there to, get flowers a few times a year. And she's like, that's the minimum, just reminding him that 4 or 6 times a year for some surprise flowers, that ain't it. But, it's a good start, Jaisha. It's cute and all. Joya says she's glad they were able to finally have this discussion, since it really helped Jaisha see what's important to her. But, when Dr. Stacy asks her about a third date with Luther, she says no, because she basically got out what she needed to get from him the first 2 dates, which was, in my opinion, I guess, to let Jaisha know she need gifts, which I guess because she really couldn't plan on Luther bringing her a gift to actually have this conversation. But I guess that's what she needed, and that's what she got. Okay. At this point, there will be no new dates in place. So those who have already said they're going to go on another date, it's with a repeat date. And those who are not going on a date are going to focus on themselves. So only Catherine and Jasmine will be going on repeat dates this week. The assignment this week is for the ladies to get together and go look at a wedding venue and imagine kind of themselves standing at the altar, and for the men to go tuck shopping and really ask themselves if they're ready to spend the rest of their lives with the person that they are with. So after group session, we see Ricky is meeting up with his dad, and he says his dad is a really big influence on his life. His dad asks about him and Catherine. He tells them about the whole experience and what they've been going through. He says he's a little bit back and forth on whether he's ready or not. You're not. He says he doesn't want to do the wrong thing again, since he's been married before. His dad said, the biggest encounter should be your partner having your back. So if you have somebody, the biggest thing really should be for them to have your back and them to be there to support you. Ricky asks his dad for some advice when they have these arguments that kind of go downhill real fast. And his dad says that, when they have heated discussions, it's all right to kind of discuss it, but then kind of just step away and let things cool down. And he kind of, I guess, wants Ricky to take the lead. And he's like, once she sees you kind of doing that, maybe she'll start doing that as well. I can agree somewhat, but it seems like the problem with Ricky right now is he's just wanting to avoid it altogether, or he's wanting to step away before the issue is actually resolved, which does nothing but cause you to have the same argument over and over and over again. So I agree that if, it's real heated, that you should step away. But if you step away, you can't then come back and pretend like the argument never happened. Step away and cool down, and then come back and discuss it with level head, so that y'all don't say anything that you did not want to say to the other person, is my opinion. So Dr. Stacy, she comes over looking fly to visit Joya and Jaisha, but her conversation is only with Joya today. They talk about the timeline with the family and how she is not in agreement with Jaisha's 4-year plan of wanting to, get married and have a baby. And she wants it more in like a year or two. And she is really, the major concern is missing the opportunity. Of course, as she gets older, we all know how that goes. It's more risky for women to have babies the older they get. And then she also, of course, has a son, and she wants the son to still be in the house and young enough to actually have that type of relationship with their younger sibling. Now, I think her son is like 9, 10, 11, someone up in there. So either way, Joya, it's going to probably be a struggle for them to have a really good, close relationship, because the age is just so vastly different. But I understand about them kind of being in the same house together for those few years. Dr. Stacy basically tells her that she is living in the what if. She's like, women have babies all their time in their early 40s, and you're just kind of living in this maybe not situation and not in the reality. Now, Dr. Stacy, this is where I'm going to have you to actually pump your brakes just a little bit, because yes, women have babies in their early 40s all the time, but we know it is a fact that you increase certain issues the older you are having babies. We don't get no new eggs like men can keep reproducing sperm. So it is a very valid argument for Joya when she is closer to 40 to be like, the clock is ticking. I'm gonna need you to get with it or get lost. Like, I didn't really appreciate Dr. Stacy acting like, oh, we're 25 and you're just in a rush to have kids. You have plenty of time. When in reality, she does not have plenty of time on her hands. Who knows how long it's actually going to take her to get pregnant once they start trying. And we all want the baby to come here happy and healthy. And that's just the risk that you take the older you are having children, Dr. Stacy. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. She tells Joya that she needs to flow, and so she needs to flow and then surrender, allow, and be in the moment to give up some of the control that she has. So Joya says she'll give it a try. She really wants to be the wife that Jaysha desires. So Dr. Stacy tells her to just be open and available and let go of all that baby talk. Again, I'm on the fence of how I feel about that advice, okay? So Jasmine then goes on her second date with Josie, and she does give him a little side hug this time. They meet at a little cafe. They catch up on how the week has been going. She says that her job has been really busy, and she doesn't take any time for herself. So he kind of reminds her, like, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. You got into this so that you would have more flexibility. So you need to let, your employees take on more of that so you can have some more time for herself, which is accurate. She says that, he just really gets her and they do connect, but she has definitely friend zoned him. And basically that's what this is about, because she wants to continue with things with Zay, but she wants to become a client of his, or she wants them to work together on a venture. Child, I can't remember what Josie did, but he's cool with it. She says she wants to marry Zay, but she doesn't want to marry him for the potential that the communication will get better. She has to marry him for who he is. And at this point, Jasmine, if you marry this man, you are a complete fool. And if you think he's going to change and he's going to be the grown man that you really want him to be, I don't see it for Zay. You need somebody who is more on your wavelength, can put together coherent sentences, and have a mentally stimulating conversation. I don't see that with Zay, okay? So next we see the ladies meet up at an event facility while the men are visiting the tuck shop. So both Joya and Jaysha seem to be a little bit stressed and nervous over the situation. Zay says, when I tried on the suit, I was 98% sure I wanted to do this. But that other 2% is a lot. That's not a lot. 98 and 2, that's just simple math. That 2 is not a whole lot. If you are feeling that concerned, maybe you should have said a 50-50, a 40-60, somewhere around there, Zay. But 2% is essentially nothing. Cut it out, okay? The ladies go visit the altar where, the magic is supposed to happen. They can all imagine themselves standing there with their significant others. They go inside, have a little charcuterie board and some champagne. Jasmine tells them the story with her and Zay. About 2 years ago, it was her birthday. Zay invited all of her friends. He pulled out this ring box, got the mic to do this speech, and child, it was the promise ring that we have heard. We see some footage, and Zay, this basic ass speech that we hear, he is reading it off of his phone. I'm like, this is not even a proposal, and you couldn't even memorize this or just go off the cuff of how much you love this woman to say this speech. Child, and you still stayed, Jasmine? Girl, okay. She says basically since then, when he gave her the promise ring instead of an engagement ring, her grandmother and her father have passed away. So it really hurts that the opportunity of them being there at her wedding was essentially taken away from her. Which, yeah, I get, but you also can't necessarily predict death with anybody. So that could have still happened. Even if y'all were engaged, they could have passed before the wedding actually have happened. So, but I get what she's saying. So Jaysha then asks the guys basically what they're thinking, where their heads are at. Zay says, you know, he realized it was him holding himself back because he has errors and he didn't want to bring those errors into a marriage. I said, errors, Zay? Errors? This is not a test that we grading that has errors. Like, this man, I just don't see it for Zay, child. Jaysha says he's nervous about the baby, really them being a stepdad because he's never done it before. And I'm like, well, duh, Jaysha. People just don't go around, you know, wanting and willing to be stepdaddies all the time. People just generally don't be stepdaddies to a bunch of different children as far as getting married over and over and over and over again, Jaysha. Stop it. He then says he wants to make sure she wants him for him, and basically saying that she just doesn't want him as a means to an end to get the baby. When I tell y'all, I literally yelled at my TV, shut up, Jaysha, because this woman has been with you. At least I believe they've been together for a couple years at this point. And it's clear that this woman wants you for you, not just for the baby that you can supply her, sir. Like, you was getting on my nerves at this point, because if she really wanted a baby that bad, women can have a baby without a man physically being involved in that process. So if that was the case, she could have just done that. But she's told you before, you are the first man that she's really seen herself wanting to marry and want to have additional children with. So stop playing in our face, acting like, oh, she just want to get married so then, you know, I can give her this baby. No, she does not. No, she does not. But he wants to focus on the journey and not necessarily be so focused on the destination of that journey. Catherine tells the ladies that she came here really with a commitment to her relationship because, you know, she left everything back home, her clients back home, to come here to Atlanta to be with Ricky. Jasmine asks if Ricky were to ask her to marry him, what would she say? Skirt. They pumped the brakes and we went back over to the guys. The guys are asking Ricky what's happening. He says they just need more time. She needs to do more healing. So what you need to do, Ricky, huh? What is it that you need to do? Because you seem to act like Catherine is the only one that's the problem here. He says it may take more time for them to get there, but it's not that they just won't ever get there. It just needs more time. Okay. Zay says, man, y'all be having some hard conversations. I don't know if I can really get through that without Dr. Stacy. And Jasmine, you still want to marry this man that can't have a conversation. Just carrying on a conversation. This is ghetto. And I don't want this for you, Jasmine. This is ghetto. So back over to the ladies. Jasmine tells Catherine that, you know, if I was really your real homegirl, I would tell you to really, you know, work on yourself. She thinks that, you know, Ricky and Catherine will be great to get married one day, but they probably should not get married right now. And I do agree. I don't want them to get married ever. Catherine is really taking on a lot of the burden of this relationship, and basically I feel like why things aren't where maybe she wants them to be or working out. And I really want her to take off some of that and put some of that on Ricky as well, because I don't know, whatever promises or discussions y'all had prior to you moving, he needs to take some accountability as well as yourself. It's not just all you, okay? But Jasmine tells her that, you know, she's heard in a few of the sessions how Catherine talks to Ricky. And she was like, woo, like sometimes I'm like, you really say some hurtful things. And I just sit back like, wow. And I was trying to think back. I mean, I can't remember every episode and everything that happened. But please, if y'all remember, drop down in the comments what Catherine would have said to Ricky during these group sessions that could have been so hurtful. I don't know if I'm missing it or if it's just been cut out and we didn't hear those things. But I was just like, I don't remember her saying anything completely out of line to Ricky that would be like really hurtful or disrespectful. But y'all let me know if y'all remember. So then we see Joya and Jaysha having a romantic private dinner. He brought us some roses. Y'all know she loves that. He even brought in a private chef, and she is like, yes, this is check, 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 hitting all the romance check boxes that I need. He says that he loves her even more now because it has really improved their strengths and weaknesses within each other. She says she is committed to doing the self-work because she really thought coming into this, it was all Jaysha that needs to do the fixing is the problem. But she realized that there's some things she needs to do as well. So they talk about the hardest part of the process so far. And during this whole dinner conversation chat, they are really connecting with one another and really taking in what they have learned from these dates. And Joya looks like she is ready to pop out of this red dress and get working on this baby right now. Okay. She can't wait till the cameras leaving this dinner is over because she is ready to get it on and pop it. All right. They both feel that Dr. Stacy is in it with them and really wants them to win, and they really just have to get out of their own head. I don't know what to think about these two because, again, they both have very valid arguments. I think that they could work if they just get on the same page, which I guess sort of kind of happens in the next few moments of this scene. We see Jaysha loves to hear Joya saying that she's going to give up some control. She's going to let him lead because she know he can. And again, yes, he can. But the thing that Joya wants as far as a child or children, again, there's not just endless years upon years that they can put this on hold to then make a decision at a later date. Like, we need to figure out what's happening sooner rather than later. So with her saying all that, he loves all that. And then I feel like he almost low-key gaslit her, and only because him having such a change of heart so fast, I wasn't completely convinced if I believed it or he was just saying this to make Joya happy so that she hears what she wants. But he tells her, you know, he can really see her being the mother of his children. He can see that baby timeline that he has set being moved up. And he's like, you know, what's that kind of the age you don't want to hit again? It's 40, right? And she's like, yeah, that's kind of like the deadline that she's giving him of, you know, I want to have a baby by then. And Jaysha's like, nah, you won't hit that. We won't be close to that. And she's like, by delivery? And he's like, yeah, we'll be fine. So again, I'm just confused because you were, this whole season, you were so really like set on not really wanting to jump in and have this baby so soon. But I believe, isn't Joya like 37, 38? So you're talking about, is you getting her pregnant tonight? Like, the change of heart just happening so fast is what has me questioning whether he really means it or whether he's gaslighting and just like, I'm gonna feed her this because I know this is what she want to hear and we in a good place right now. But the follow through might be a little bit weak. But you know, talk is cheap, Jaysha. I'm gonna need you to really show up and show out if this is what you're gonna get us, lady, okay? So now we see Catherine's on her fourth date with Marcus. Child, this is her boyfriend at this point. She looks great in this orange outfit. I'm completely loving it. She asks where he sees himself in the next 2 years, and he said hopefully married, and then there's some business things that he wants to accomplish. Marcus has a little confessional, and he essentially throws some shots at Ricky and says that Ricky has some growing to still do. He has a child to take care of, and he is barely taking care of himself, so he damn sure can't take care of a woman. I said, Marcus, who is you talking to? Now, when I heard this on the episode, I just did a little whoop. But then I was also saying, where is the lie? I couldn't find the lie. Could y'all find the lie? I could not find the lie because Ricky got y'all staying in the house with me and you, your mama and your cousin too. So, yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? He asks her if she's experiencing intimacy or romance, and she says no. Ricky keeps telling her that he feels like they're just already married, so I guess that's his excuse as to not being able to put forth an effort. But y'all are not married, Ricky. That's why y'all on this show. Catherine says she came on another date to really try and figure out what she needs and not what she wants. She says that her and Marcus really do have alignment with one another. And it seemed like from what she was saying that this date was supposed to be like a bit of a closure date. And she's like, it's not really going that way. So Marcus says he's really ready to step up and take Catherine to another level. And she knows, you know, what the next step is for, you know, that needs to be taken for them. I was like, not you including yourself when this lady still got a man, okay? Ricky, you about to lose your woman. You better step up, my guy. Marcus is definitely making it known what he wants. And again, I'm not necessarily mad at it because I always want a man to be clear and authentic on what it is that he wants. But honestly, I felt like this is the first date that they've had where I feel like he wasn't going too strong and he felt more authentic than he's felt on the other dates. He seemed maybe more settled because they have gone out a few times at this point where he didn't have to go so heavy. But this was the first date that I've seen from them where I really wasn't questioning his motives and not knowing if he really truly liked her as much as he said. But it seems like he does. At the end of the day, I still don't think Catherine should probably jump into another relationship with Marcus if she breaks things off with Ricky. I think she could continue to date him and get to know him, because if you have the right partner, they can really support you through your growth and not hinder it. So I'm not opposed to her trying to see where things may go with Marcus. Again, not jumping into we exclusively boyfriend and girlfriend and you basically just do the same thing you're doing with Ricky with a new person, but take things slower, focus, have that healthy balance of focusing on yourself, but also getting to know Marcus to see if he is someone that you would want to be with. But either way, you need to leave Ricky, okay? So we are back at the final group session. All the couples are showing up. Y'all know Joya and Jaysha, they're going to show up matching if they don't do nothing else, okay? Jaysha tells us what happened, you know, when they went tuck shopping. He says he had no fears. He could imagine himself in that position. He really feels at peace right now. Ricky says he realized how good he looked in the tux. And I was like, with these braids hanging down the front and these other braids, oh, I'm never going down somebody who have good self-confidence and self-esteem, but child, let's just move on. Then we see Zay says he felt like one of the tucks, he felt like a golf champ. But he says it's putting him, you know, preparing him for what is really happening. I swear the elevator do not go all the way up with Zay at all. This man has to be showing Jasmine something else other than what we see on this TV for her to want to marry him. It has to be, because ain't no way the way he show up on TV is the way he show up with her every day and she still want to be with him. It just ain't no way, Sway. It ain't no way. I'm sticking to that. It ain't no way. So Joya talks about visiting the wedding venue and, you know, the feeling she had. She said she felt good envisioning who would be there, who would be by her side, as in Jaysha. And she had no fears because they've gotten so much closer during this process. Jasmine says it felt weird to her because she hadn't imagined doing that without her dad. She got a little bit emotional and Zay grabbed her hand and Dr. Stacy was like, you see what your man is doing? And she's like, yeah, he's saying he got me. And she's like, yeah, and he's showing that he's paying attention, I guess. Catherine says the only fear she has is with their communication being on point, and they really have to get that situated in order for a marriage to work. They talk about the dates. Jasmine talks about her date with Josie, and she says that he would be somebody she would be continuing to communicate with if she wasn't in a relationship. But it shows her that the dating scene in Atlanta is not where she wants to be. And I'm like, girl, the dating scene nowhere is where you want to be, but that still ain't good enough to stay in a relationship that ain't serving you, ma'am. I'm just saying. And for you, I felt like for her to say if she wasn't in a relationship, Josie would be someone she would be continuing to talk to. Her trying to put him in the friend zone, Zay better watch it, because it's like she still low key is like, I might like him a little bit. And if y'all trying to have some type of working relationship, I don't know how that's going to work exactly if you still feel like, hey, if I was single, I would holla. I just don't know how that worked. Anyway, as it wraps up, Catherine says that her date with Marcus was good, and it always feels good to be in that space of she has arrived, and that's how she feels with Marcus. And I'm like, girl, that's how you should feel all the time. So you just need to let Ricky go. She then starts to cry as Dr. Stacy is talking, and it's kind of like it's coming out of nowhere. So Dr. Stacy asks her what's wrong, and she tells us that she knows who she wants to be with. And then the episode goes off. I'm so mad because they teased us with that last week, and then y'all put this at the last 10 seconds of the episode this week, and we still didn't hear whatever she had to say. And who knows if we'll actually hear it next week, or if they're just gonna kind of let them keep talking, because we didn't see a preview of Dr. Stacy talking with Ricky. So I'm like, did she really say she didn't want to be with Ricky no more and she wanted to be with Marcus, or she wanted to just be alone by herself? I don't really know what's happening, because we still see Ricky in the episode next week. But I guess we will have to wait, y'all, for the season finale next week of Put a Ring on It. Again, I thought this episode was probably one of the best that they've had all season, but drop y'all comments down below and let me know what y'all thought about the episode, and then we'll chat next week to see who actually puts a ring on it. And it's probably only really needs to be Joya and Jaysha at this point. Everybody else needs to go their separate ways. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.